Today we're going to look at a concept called the anxiety equation. When increasing your tolerance to uncertainty, you might be feeling anxious in the process and worried about your ability to deal with these new situations. What you're experiencing here is called the anxiety equation. The anxiety equation tells us that when we overestimate the threat of something and underestimate our ability to cope, we feel anxious. Let's consider an example. When might you have exaggerated in your mind how bad something might be and the reality turned out differently and actually you coped really well in the moment? Maybe you were worried about that job interview, believing that you'd do terribly, but the reality was that you coped and performed brilliantly. Or you were worried about how your presentation was going to go, but in the end it was okay. Or you were worried about a difficult conversation, but somehow you muddled through it. Maybe you were worried about travelling for an upcoming holiday. Would you make the flight on time? Would you cope on the flight? And how would it play out on the other side? But you muddled through it. You just did it. To give you my own example, when I have time off work, the night before I go back, I overestimate the quantity of emails and problems I'm going to come back to. I'll routinely think I will never cope and I will never catch up. And what happens time and time again? I muddle through it, I get it done, and it's never as bad as I expect. But I've wasted time and sleep worrying that it will be too much and I won't cope with it. I overestimate the threat of the emails, and I underestimate my ability to deal with them. So what qualities do I possess that allow me to muddle through my emails in the end? Maybe it's an ability to be organised and efficient. But when I'm lying in bed worrying, I'm not focusing on my ability to deal with it. I'm focusing on the threat. So take a moment now to look at the coping resources worksheet and write a list. What internal qualities and personality traits do you have that help you muddle through? What are your strengths? Maybe you're organised or do well in a crisis, or perhaps you really care about doing a good job. You might even like to think back to an example where you were nervous about something but you muddled through it. What qualities did you lean on that got you through? If you struggle to identify your own strengths or positive qualities, take a moment to ask someone, or perhaps look back on feedback you've had in the past. What might others say about you?